Okay, we've got a New York strip loin here that we're going to trim down a little bit, cut it up in steaks, and also cut it up into a roast. So we're just going to get rid of some of this fat on the top, and I'll also trim down the individual steaks a little bit when I do get there. One thing you have to realize is when you start out, that's 18 pounds that we had, then we're trimming off all this fat. So if you're doing a yield, you have to figure out how much fat you have and then what the new price per pound is, because just imagine all this fat was meat. If it was meat, usable meat, this would all be a steak that we could cook and we make money on. But it's fat that we have to trim off, and we lose it, so we lose all that weight. That's what yielding is. You have to calculate out what your yield is after the fact, so that you know what the actual cost per the steak is. All right, we're going to leave a little bit of fat on the back of this because I'm going to roast this. Let's see what the first one turns out to be. It's going to be light because I have to trim the tail off. But let's see what we got here. Wow, look at that. 11.75 ounces for the first steak. That little meat there we'll use for stock. Trim this just a little. So we'll call 11.5. 11.5. So 11.5. So now I know that the next steak I have to cut a little bit, just a little bit thicker. 11.5. Okay, we got two nice steaks there for 11.5. I'm going to count out this trim here. We have 18 ounces. We have 17 ounces. So it's 35 ounces. 35 and 14. So 49, we're going to call it 50 ounces of trim that I have to account for that is unusable. 50 ounces, so we're going to take that off the total weight and then redo the cost for the item. All right, so that is 12 and a quarter. 12 and a quarter. Much better. Much better knife. It's 12 and a half. Although I do have to cut that little piece off there. A little more fat on the back on these as we get closer to the chuck side. This will be just around 12. There it is, right on 12. Alright, again, I'm going to, what was I at? Was that 50 ounces? I got another 8 ounces here. Then I have to take off the weight, so that's 58 ounces. Alright, so we have a roast for 4, a roast for 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beautiful steaks. And another 2 ounces, so 60 ounces of fat that we took off the steak. So I'm going to recalculate all that out from the 18 pounds and what it cost, and we'll figure that out, what the actual cost per steak and roasted. We started with 17.82 pounds of meat at $8.70 a pound for $155. The $155 doesn't change. However, we had 60 ounces of trim, which is 3.75 pounds of trim, which brings it down to 14.07 pounds of usable meat. So when you divide the 14.7 into 155.03, it comes back as 11.02 per pound. So we paid $8.70 per pound, and after trimming, now this steak cost $11.02 per pound. This is yielding